Kimraha Huladunia, how is everyone? Feuchamaich Olde Scot the Celtic podcast. On today's show in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, that's Let's Try a Little Gaelic, we'll be in a 25-part beginner's course, and we'll be in lesson 23, and it's all about the future tense. We're going to talk about William Wallace and why he wasn't the only hero of the Scottish Rebellion, and you're going to hear a story. I call it the Loch story, but it's a little bit about a book. We'll do that in everyday Celtic ways. Now you're going to hear music from Cara Dillon, some Welsh music from Leah Owen, Kathleen McInnes, Julie Fowlis, and Monran. And as always, it's a wee bit of Irish trivia to test your knowledge to start us off. What film was set in the fictional Irish village of Tullymore? It's about a man who won the national lottery. Now, check out the Olde Scot Facebook group where you can be a part of Celtic culture. We've been getting a lot of members lately, so come be a part of it. Feuchamaich, let's kick this thing off.
It being in the springtime, and the small birds were singing down by on shady harbour, I carelessly did stray. The thrushes they were warbling, the violets they were charming, to view fond lovers talking, how I liked it delay. She said, my dear, don't leave me for another season, though fortune does be pleased, and I'll go along with you. I'll forsake friends and relations, and bid this holy nation unto the bonny banks forever I'll bid adieu. He said, my dear, don't grieve, or yet annoy my patience. You know I love you dearly, the more I'm going away. I'm going to a foreign nation to purchase a plantation, to comfort us hereafter
That was Craigie Hill by Cara Dillon. Now it's time for Let's Try a Little Gaelic. Now, I'm not an authority on the Gaelic language, I just love learning it. I struggle like most, and I want to help. What I teach comes right from well-respected Gaelic teachers, so I hope you find it interesting, informative, and fun. I always display on the screen what I am discussing, so you can follow along. Today we're in our 25-part Gaelic lesson, which you can download for free off the Facebook group. And we're in lesson 23, which is all about future tense of the verb to be. Now, so far you've seen the present and the past tense of the verb to be, and now we're going to introduce you to the future tense. As you can see, it adheres to the same 4 types of rules of statements and questions as present and past tenses do. All right, the first one is a positive statement, and we're going to run through the pronouns so you kind of get an idea of how to start off sentences with them. You got the Gaelic and English, of course. You got be me, which is I will be. Be you will be. Be a, he will be. And be she will be. Be shin, we will be. Be shiv, you will be, plural. Be it, they will be. All right. Now that's just the positive statements. But you can apply that to the other 3, which is the negative statement and the positive and a negative question. And of course you got be me, I will be, which is the positive statement. Kavi me, I won't be, which is the negative statement. Be me, I will be, which is the positive question. And nach be me, won't I be, the negative question. We're going to run through a few examples so you kind of get an idea how they're working a sentence. And of course, we always give the Gaelic and the English. Bishin a bruin ach a choiniv. We will be speaking at the meeting. Kavia dol an shin. You will not be going there. Ambi iet a ruch yanvu. Will they be running to the shop? Nach bi I ach iche kus vieg. Won't she be eating too much food? All right. And each one of those was in a different one. All right. Questions in the future tense use a special form, though, of the future called the relative future. Now, you'll discover even more about the future tense as you advance in your Gaelic language, but for now, just remember that you have to use a special form of the future tense with question words. Now, as you'll see on the English side of this first one, coavius, who will be, there's a space, be, space. Now, if it's something like a person's name, you're identifying it's the definite article. Say like, let's see. We'll go down here, we use coviet. Coviet, avius, how many, just will there be? It's that you don't have to put anything in there, but if you want to put like, how many grandchildren will there be? Coviet, ula, avius. Okay, that means how many grandchildren will be? Okay, so you'll see that as we use them in the sentences later on. Let's just run through these real quick. We got coavius, who will be. J avius, what will be. Kunyavius, when will be. Carson avius, why will be. Kimmer avius, how will be. Coviet avius, how many will be. And the catcha, of course, always has to be different. Catch and be, where will be. All right. Like I said, we've got a few examples here so you can see how that works in a sentence. You got the Gaelic and the English. Covius ashiesiv phone Gehin Show. And who will be standing under this mirror? Kacha Mb Ambu Ur. Where will the new store be? Koviet Ua Avias Eravus. How many grandchildren will be on the bus? And B Ambu Ur Ansavala. The new shop will be in the town. Alright. Hope that introduces you a little bit to the future tense, and hope it didn't confuse you too much. I've got a few sentences here, 6 as always. You can run through these and use them as a little bit of to test your knowledge. So, translate these into English. You got number 1, Kavi, Vimi ak eri anlar. 2, Biu adol yanvanka. 3, Javias u ajanev lesh and korla suit. Number 4, Ambi and Tokras Orsh. 5, Kabi, Hami ak ihya ak tri urin. And 6, Kacha ambi usa ak koik urin. Alright, that's it for Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And I hope you've been sticking with this 25-part Gaelic lesson. I've been really enjoying this.
Nach January is toke fall Shohanan Charges fallen Skoshi soon Doch trot a lion Tremor Kisser Stok da Mentanier Sganen För mig milaje Forsnelin Chin hermanen Betav Faskal de speech Ayo Loch, Gach trajes pialoch, Bininge hiket mare, Tron ham mich Marseille Es bichinjes var bichinjo Marne hoai garden jari Rille sunt gebarne tuli Straden cenatje Hi-yo
was Gloin Lar, and that means the West is calling, and it's by Monran. Now today on Celtic History Break, we're going to talk about William Wallace and how he was not the only rebel leader in the Scottish Rebellion. Now, I have to admit, I just love the movie Braveheart. And yes, I know it is not historically accurate. But the reason I love it is because it caused me to take a deeper look into my Scottish heritage. And then I fell in love with learning all I could. Finding out that the Battle of Stirling Bridge actually had a bridge. Well, in fact, the bridge was a very important part of the battle. And that was left out for some reason. I don't know. Another fact was that left out was that William Wallace was not the only patriotic leader of the resistance to the English occupation of Scotland. Equally important was Andrew de Moray. Now, he led the rising in the north of Scotland in the summer of 1297, before Wallace even rebelled. Wallace rebelled against the occupation of King Edward I of England and successfully regained control of the area for King John Balliol. Now, he subsequently merged his forces with those led by William Wallace and jointly led the combined army to the victory at the Battle of Stirling Bridge. Now, Moray was mortally wounded in that fighting, and in the winter of 1297, he escaped from an English prison and immediately began to organize the resistance in the north of Scotland against English rule. By the end of the year, Scotland's forces were in control of Morayshire and had taken possession of the principal castles in the region, including Elgin and Inverness. Now, de Moray's success in the north was matched by Wallace's in the south. After the defeat of the English at Stirling Bridge in September 1297, de Moray was mentioned along with Wallace in letters as leaders of the army in the realm of Scotland. However, victory came at a price. De Moray, like I said, was wounded at Stirling and died 2 months later. Now, some historians have argued that too much of the credit for this has gone to Wallace, and that the successful campaign of 1297 owed more to Moray than it did to his more celebrated contemporary. Probably the reason why Wallace took so much of the credit at the time is because, well, he presented a romanticized version of a Scottish warrior hero. After all, nobles like de Moray and would-be kings are supposed to do these kinds of things. Commoners are only supposed to follow, not lead. I personally think that Wallace's legend grew because, well, he had a better publicist. His publicist was in the form of the poet Blind Harry, who was a traveling bard in the 15th century that spread this romanticized version of the story of Wallace losing his woman at the hand of the English, and which fed right into that romantic desires of a proud Scottish people. And I think that's the reason why his fame is so large today. Not that he didn't deserve it. All right, that's it for that's Celtic History Break. Yeah.
San dapper en nur, dapper en kathach nach reik a chalún, snurva mi og, smi fyrst amlú, sjegak mi follew nach an dapper en nur. Bak lu års de hesi stunanjer was suort, a chumme gerit de alwag sa lenne gerit aloi, samnene de was spirit, stu kinjach nam boer, nach gagen gerax, nach chilliger an chuan. An dapper en gadich, an dapper en nur, dapper en gadich nach reik a chalún, snurva mi og, smi fyrst amlú, sjegak mi follew nach an dapper en nur. Samnorste van bjuas an duche down, tu cooper ga beautiful change. Some road at view, distant flute, good rain. Some fine mood, a bit you left it all light. And dark and giddy, sun dark and blue. Dark and dark, it's not the day of my own. Still on me, on, it's me first the moon. Check out the photo, and dark and I miss Jessie at Bosch. Some not in a sky, sit the house in the show. A mouth of dark pity is good with my Bosch. Behind the whole wood, and they feel like it all. Come on, gorge, ach, hang with a chasen, so on, go cruel. It's my stunning, the wagon, I had a left for walk. And up and get each sun, up and go, it's not the day of my own, stood on me, on, it's me first, check out the photo, and up and da var this diet for leon. Nach train yet good banish they are so like a ach chile du hast the Christian yarn. Spishu get and go on he is toddy go. And da get it sun da and you. Da and go the snap the reek of my me up. Speak for the still check out me for now, nothing that I'm
Alright, that was in Chaplain Gordich and Chaplain Ur, or in the Shashivala Ranel. And that means the short apron and the new apron, a song for Balranald's Standing. And that's by Julie Wallace. And today on Everyday Celtic Ways, I'm going to tell you about a story called The Loch. If you're fascinated by cryptic creatures as I am, then I think you will love this novel by Stephen Alton entitled The Loch. He has a couple of other books that comes after this, but I first picked up this book in 2006 when I was still very much immersed in the Scottish Highland Games. An elderly Scottish gentleman was expounding a group of us at a beer tent after a hard day of throwing heavy stuff, and with his unique Scottish banter, he had us all mesmerized. When the inevitable question of Nessie came up from an eager young American who didn't know any better, many dismissed the inquiry as balderdash, and a few of them got up and left when they realized that he was serious. I was eager, though, to hear his tale of having had a sighting of America's cryptid creature, Bigfoot, when I was young and hunting. Now, while seeing that he still had the attentive audience, he began to tell his tale. And a few beers later, he had told his story so well that, honestly, it was believable. Another person sitting next to me listening was the man who had a vendor tent there at the festival. And after our storyteller had left, this man told me his story was oddly close to a story in one of the books he sells. So I followed him back to this tent, found the book, and tried to pay for it, but he refused. He gave it to me as a gift. And I enjoy reading, but this book, until this, I enjoy reading, but until this book, I hadn't read a book without really putting it down. I haven't been so more immersed in a story that I couldn't just put a book down. But this one was different. I had to read it until I was finished. It was that good. Now, Loch Ness holds secrets, ancient and deadly. And the question is, does a monster inhabit its depths, or is it just myth? Why, after thousands of reported sightings and dozens of expeditions, is there still no hard evidence? Now, the novel, The Loch, tells the story of this marine biologist, Zachary Wallace, but the shock of his near drowning as a child on Loch Ness buried his memories of the incident. Now, a near-death experience suffered on some expedition caused him to, get these memories back. They started to resurface. Now, haunted by vivid night terrors, stricken by the fear of the water, Zach, the character in the book, finds that he can no longer function as a scientist, as he's unable to cope. His career is all but over, so he stumbles down the path of self-destruction, as some of us do, until he receives contact from his estranged father. Now, a man he has not seen since his parents' divorce and left Scotland as a boy. The guy was named Angus Wallace, so it's a wily Highlander who had never worked an honest day in his life, but is on trial for murdering his business partner. Now, only Zachary can prove his innocence, if he is innocent, but to do so means confronting the nightmare that nearly killed him 17 years earlier. So, incorporating the latest research and new evidence that leads to real answers concerning the monster's identity, the author, Steve Alton, hi Vera, weaves a tale of horror about the most publicized and controversial character ever to exist. Say hi to everybody. Hi! That's my granddaughter. Alright, go out and check out this book. It's called The Loch by Steve Alton. I know you'll like it. Enjoy.
Catcha dealcha dunne cod the rowan cod the rua. Na híle gachi chana croich gelisha cod the rua. Chanach gemisha ferred vod shediavid course a chloi. Vacuul an trusgang lecholomach the shechod the rua. Charo kocht an canyap no fod the sound sa chod the ruach. Sound vaik jaart mach a corn the beart the chloin and one. Smo vile bianach ekut halad a home se jaar sa guai. Sa jarave jaart vi edu vjod na dringen god the ruach. Hjuling ist worden jarne lische chade ruhe. Eiche hies an arch na manes, eiche barnish huas. Charo talan change au nor an glinche kjall no duan. Nach eich gegiat mo charich kodan a hen sa gade ruhe. Ach shimag mia vag hukugas o heins de chade ruach. Amach gach eiche nuet bachar gav is a chas nam hoi. Eder baren jespe kies an yers ma hoi. Skandagas mit jidach sharaf geleor jet heins de chade ruach.
Galaf sing uiche ganda joost is gelach sing stop it chloos. Skande heel sing gachi ider doi as lish na gol sing soos. Gegleintje misje tejang grot de galor angloi. Swabocht de laun se chule poch a vidde chod de roe. Hoeke vat na huisje gonach getraanjontje looi. Gan smuntje geged gol gan chos ach tolak gan man goort. Smikeistach de sja chule skeel a chulas hies na hoes. Sa chule hun juet velver ek verre chod de rooi. Ach kom vat fallang bjelvis verre chod de rooi. Gus isje skjoulen giden jarne du I chornen boer. Sma sjeske jikke kwartsk gebrach en was I daar in chlooi. Gan schienen baart de lavle tjoen de jere chod de rooi.
That was Feuchamaich Redcoat Band by Kathleen McInnes. That's it for today's show. Hope you liked it. Trying to keep it interesting, informative, and fun as always. Top 11 Herichin? No. Before you go, the trivia question answer. The movie Waking Ned was the film set in the fictional Irish village of Tullamore, and it's about a man who won the national lottery. It's a very funny movie. You should check it out. Alright. Remember to check out my YouTube channel, Olde Scot. It's got Learn a Gaelic song videos, Celtic podcast videos, speaking our language videos, Celtic movies, and more scary stories. All right. And I even added a few this Halloween, Samhain, I should say. Boo, Samhain. And my Facebook group, Olde Scot, where you can give me your insights and inputs on all things Celtic. Marshall Leave and Drozda, bye for now. But I'm going to let you go with a song. And I hope I don't butcher this. It's in Welsh. Mi hardaquit, honey beautiful honey. That's what that means from the best of Welsh folk. And it's by Leah Owen.
Mil hardaquit nar hosin gwyn, nar hosin coch ar ail y bryn. Nar alarch balch yn nofi o'r llyn, fy maban bach. Mwy swyn o liw dy chwerthin mwyn, na chan y fron fraith yn y llwyn, na mir o ben y twyn, fy maban bach. Mwy anwy lwyd na'r oenig gwyn, na'r blodau tlws ar ail y bryn, na dawnsio heilwen ar y llyn, fy maban bach. Mil gwell gennin ac awr y byd, yw gweld dywynau yn dy gryd. Fy ffortiwn wyt a gwyn